Hello and welcome to another Wednesday night live. Hopefully you are all doing well. This one is called Dev Random because, well, it's going to be random tonight. We're not quite sure where we're going to end up. So have a couple ideas. We'll see where those lead. Let's just see who's here in the chat first. We have, as usual, Grish and Keith Bennett says he's ready to go. Terrell's here. Terrell, I always say that wrong. I'm sorry. Mike is here. Yeah, and shouldn't have switched to 1080. Yeah, that's that was definitely not the issue today, although definitely not helping the fact, I'm sure. Jeremy is here with, I think, is that a new thumbnail? I think that is. Randomness. We are going to talk about key and fill tonight. That is one of the things on the list. Hi, honey. We just finished dinner, and it was a good local pizza place. Nils is here. I'm not sure what this is referencing. Maybe I missed something. I'm guessing media or oh my God, what is that called? Open Media Vault? Wow. But I could be wrong. Yeah, 1080p 60. All right, so yes, so we got several things going on tonight. I did want to discuss key and fill. I did want to discuss my new streaming setup. I did want to talk about my experience with actual budget and Flight Radar 24, and then we'll probably talk about developing HTML graphics for use on streaming and about APIs, and we'll either lay the groundwork or we'll start making one depending upon how far we get. I do have Windsurf installed, so I can kind of show you the overall basics of what I do when I code, or when I vibe code, I guess you want to call it. So yeah, so we got a lot to talk about tonight. That's kind of why it's Dev Random. It's kind of be all over the place tonight. So first things first. Oh no, I hope it's not buffering. I hope it's not buffering. What does YouTube say? Probably not me, but you never know. Okay, good. No buffering there. All right, so let's go back to first things first. If you don't know what Flight Radar 24 is, it's a pretty cool monitoring thing. It's actually Joe on his previous channel first, introduced me to it, I believe, because he had a whole tutorial video on how to do it. So I followed it and I had a Raspberry Pi going for years. But the Raspberry Pi died, and I believe it was during COVID or slightly after COVID. And I think it was the one that died. And basically, I kind of gave up on it. But the antenna, which is right out here, I never really, gave up. It just kind of is still out there. And I liked having the contributor plan for Flight Radar 24. You get to fly, virtually. You can follow the planes around as they fly around. And more often than not, we'll be sitting here and be like, hey, there's a plane flying overhead. And it's like, what plane is that? You pull up a thing, and you're like, it's Delta or FedEx or whoever. So it's kind of nice to have. So I figured, well, let me get back to that. But, I didn't want to do it on a Raspberry Pi. I have a whole virtualization cluster, as you guys know. I like to have things in that and have it do lots of different things. So I tried to, um, you know, build it in a container. That didn't work. Tried to build it as VM. That didn't work. And I'm like, okay, what is going on here? And so, um, so I was like, fine, we'll pull the Raspberry Pi out. We'll load their image. It'll work. And it still didn't work. I was flabbergasted. I was like, this makes no sense to me. You know, this should work. Nothing's changed. But maybe I'm like, maybe I grabbed the wrong wire because I have multiple wires headed outside. So I swapped wires. That didn't solve the problem. And I was like, this makes no sense. I reached out to Joe and I was like, well, how are you doing it again? Because maybe something changed. The Raspberry Pi image that I got from Flight Radar 24 would not do updates very well. Like if you hit, apt upgrade, it like broke. It gives you all kinds of errors. And I was like, okay, so maybe this is one of those things where it's like they broke their image, but it still didn't make sense to me that their image out of the box, not updated, didn't work. So I was thinking to myself, what is going on? I can't do a container. I can't do a VM. I can't do the physical box. This makes no sense. So I don't have it with me anymore because I went and threw it in the pile today. But I was like, maybe it's the SDR dongle. And if you remember a while ago, I did a demonstration of an SDR dongle and I mentioned that the one wasn't acting upright. Turns out it's dead. Like it responds, but it does not like something. Something did it, I don't know what it was. Bad front end on the chip. I don't know what it was, but basically the SDR dongle was bad. And I have two, so I grabbed the other one, which is the newer one, plugged it in to the Raspberry Pi, instantly lit up. 64 planes or whatever it was. And I was like, okay, this is better. This is how it's supposed to be. So literally threw that dongle and threw it across the floor and was, mad at it. And Haley stepped on it. Kicked it, because we were just like, I was just so frustrated that, this thing was not working right. And so got that working. So now I'm like, okay, now let's go back to the VM idea because I do want this to be a VM. I don't want to have to rely on a Raspberry Pi. I have other ideas for Raspberry Pis that I don't want, I don't want more physical servers. I, in fact, want less physical servers. So went back to the VM, got that working, was quite happy that now that's working. The USB pass-through in Proxmox, again, working like a charm. And so I was like, good. So I posted that result to Aaron Parecki's Discord, and he shared a picture. He's like, if you're running, Flight Radar, you should have this. And I'm like, I don't have that installed. So great. So that led me on a whole other road of installing a plugin called Graphs 1090. And I can show you what that looks like without giving away my location. So here is my Flight Radar box working, showing, the amount of planes that are being seen and stuff that's being tracked. I don't know why the range is not working. I think that to me seems a little weird. I would assume that this would work, but it's not. More information than I care to know. Overall CPU utilization, bandwidth, IOPS, all that stuff. So if you are running Flight Radar 24, this is a cool plugin. Like I said, I wish the range was working because that would be really fun to see. I didn't think it would work. Like the max range that I'm getting, because according to the map, I'm getting like 175, 180 miles line of sight. I mean, I'm getting planes that are that far away. So it'd be wonderful to have the actual data plotted here. Um, but you know, you can see a lot of planes. We'll just say that. Maybe if I go off camera for a second, or come back on camera, I mean, and go to what was that other website? Nope. Hold on. Let me find that thing. I could probably show you. Why is this not? I'm having a bad day copy and pasting. um, so let me do this. Okay. So this is not where I live, but you can see right here the list of planes that I'm currently getting. I'm getting a lot of planes, which is hilarious. So this thing is working perfectly. Um, and this shows you a map. If I showed you where I was, you could easily tell where I live. So I'm not showing you the map, but this just shows you I'm getting a lot of planes. So very happy with Flight Radar 24 now that it's working. My VM is only got 4 CPUs and 2 gigs of RAM, and it's only using about half of that. So it's using 1 gig of RAM, and it's using 2% of 4 CPUs. So I could probably cut the CPU usage down even more. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm very happy with that. Finally, it's working. USB pass-through is working like it's supposed to be. I mean, that's just amazing. So, back to the chat. We got 2604 developer snapshot 4. Okay. Yeah, mom and pop pizza places are awesome. No buffering here. Blaming Starlink or my phone? Well, I could be both, definitely. Are you on vacation? I didn't think you were using Starlink at home. We'll see if we get to vibe coding. We may not. We may not. We've already gone like 15 minutes. Yeah, the website, their little plugins are cool. I like seeing the graph, obviously, and seeing which planes are flying overhead. And glad that it works in a VM. I did not try to go back to a container, but the VM works for me. I got processing power and I got RAM, so it's not a big deal. That's a good question. I don't think it does. At least not locally. Yeah, I don't think so, but I could be wrong. If any of you know, please let me know. I would love to know that myself, but I don't think it does. All right, so the second topic tonight is my my encoding setup. As you know, I've been going back and forth with FFmpeg. I now have a script that I can compile FFmpeg myself, thanks to Windsurf. I don't need to use the one that was made and from GitHub. It takes 3 hours because I don't need that. So I now have a script that can make FFmpeg in like 5 minutes. So what I'm doing is now on, and this will lead to my key fill discussion, is going to show you my encoding machine. Communist Cast. Didn't they just merge with somebody? No, that was Charter, I think, just merged with somebody else. Why did I think you lived in a city? I don't know. I don't know why I thought that. All right, so this is my. Oops, let me get rid of that. OBS install, and so the one thing that I do on is for this machine is I install the Blackmagic desktop support, drivers. In here, I relabel them according to the numbers. So Blackmagic does this thing where they're not in order, which makes no sense to me. So SDI1 is first input on the card. You would think that the next one would be 2. Nope, it's not. It's 3. Then it's 5. Then it's 7. Then it's 2, 4, 6, and 8. I don't know why they put this in this weird order. So I actually go in here, and under each one, you can see the connectors. So this is SDI7. So I add the label SDI7 because by default, it wants to call it like a weird number. I don't know what it calls. I forget what it calls it, but it doesn't call it 7. So I make it called 7 because I hate the fact that they do things weird. I'm guessing because there are 2 chips on the card, and the way they do their key fill, they're setting these up to be key fill channel groups. So, that's what they're expecting you to do. But like you can see right here, SDI7 is got a 1080p signal on it because that's my only input that I'm using. But it's the 4th one, even though it's the 7th input on the card, if you count them logically, in order. So for key and fill, by default, they come together. So when you get a DeckLink card, you get, a key fill connection. So this first one is actually SDI1 and SDI2 because that is the key fill. So they have them in pairs. But I don't want everything to be a key fill. So for example, down here on 7, I only select 7. So normally it's a key group of 7 and 8. I say no, break that apart, only use 7. And now I have the ability to use 8 separately. So I now have 6 essentially sources or destinations because I have one key fill pair for doing the graphics, and then I separate the rest of them out. So in theory, I could bring video in or output video to 6 of those connectors and then do my key fill. Probably not the best thing to do, but it works. And so that's what we're doing tonight is I'm doing key fill in OBS, and then I am running an FFmpeg batch script, which is encoding my stream to YouTube. So this is just a command line argument, and basically it's sending out my stream. Those are the preset parameters that the script, just tells you what they're doing. And so this is actually what's encoding. If I were to hit Q or close this out, the stream would go away. I was playing around before, but it didn't seem to want to work with a playout script option, but I can't really show you that because it's not a video I have the rights to. But if I do this, you see, and I see it at my preview window, this is playing out of video now, out of 8. So I'm doing key fill on 1 and 2, encoding on 7, and I'm playing a video out on 8. Kind of crazy how much this is working. But this is because I built this version of FFmpeg with DeckLink support, and that's what's important. Because the OBS has DeckLink support built into it, but FFmpeg does not by default. So here's what I'm doing for chat. I'm actually doing a browser overlay, and I actually move it down because I don't like how high it is up in the stream. So when I click on a chat message, it comes down more as like a lower third as opposed to being up in the air. I also have my theme music playing here. And so that's part of this source. So the source is turned off audio-wise, but obviously for video, it's there. I also have my, JAU. And that was foolish of me because now I have to go here and get rid of it so I can see it again. And then I have just a basic like test type thing. So when there is no chat, I could still, test the overlay. And you saw it twice because, crap, wrong button. You see it twice because it's centered on the screen, but it's also centered. So that therefore it's the overlay. So anyway, so that's how you're doing that. What does that look like when this is working? Well, if you, let me put up a chat for a second. So we're just going to do this one. And then if I go here and I take chat off the air and I go to here, now you see this is the key. So that message is OBS is creating this key channel that looks just like this. It's just a white transparent background or white area. Anything in black is transparent. Anything white is getting cut. And this is how and why I think everybody should be doing key fill, because you see how clean those edges are. They're perfect. There is no bleeding over or almost got it right, or I hope the chroma key grabs it correctly. It's perfect. And if this thing had a transparency, you would see a transparency go from white to black. And so therefore you can have shades of gray, and each shade of gray is a transparency. So, and then here is what it looks like when you're looking at just the fill. So come back on air. So now you have the fill, which is this. And then you have the key, and together they make key and fill, and it gets you pristine graphics. And it's something, in my opinion, that everyone should do. I know chroma key and luma keys are great and it makes things easier, but to get pristine graphics that you can fade and have dissolves and transparencies, I mean, that's the way to do it. It does take up 2 outputs. You need a key and a fill. It's kind of hard to do on an HDMI device. It, generally speaking, is reserved for SDI cables, but it really is something that, I mean, I think everybody should be doing if you're doing a streaming channel. It just, you need to have it. You should, it's what you should do. So for tools and this, and basically then you go up to your DeckLink output, and so it's set for SDI1. In this case, it's set for external keyer because I'm using keying outside of Emix. It grabs that second SDI output that they call 2, or it's called 2, I should say. And then there's a start stop. OBS offers you the option to do a preview one. So if I had more keyers, which I do have a second keyer, but I don't want to run cables to it, I could in theory preview the next transition or whatever it is. But I don't have a need for doing that for based on what I'm doing. But in theory, you could have two different keyers outputting graphics, one in program and one in preview. Kind of overkill in my opinion. You don't, for what we're doing, we don't really need to preview graphics, but there are definitely use cases where I'm sure you'd want to do that. So again, you specify the device, you set the format type. I always turn these two on. You don't need to force SDR, but I mean, obviously, I do it to force SDR. More importantly, I do it on auto start. So the minute I open up OBS, it grabs it and starts outputting the key and fill. Keyer needs to be external, otherwise you don't get the fills. You don't get the key channel. If you do internal, it just stops working, and if you do disabled, obviously it doesn't work either. So, I will tell you that every graphics you see in professional television these days is key and fill. Every switcher uses key fill. I mean, if your production's vMix, you're doing key fill internally because you're just taking a graphic and you're doing that key fill in software. You know, I like hardware. That's why I have Blackmagic here sitting here. I could obviously do this whole stream in vMix. I could do this whole stream in OBS if I wanted to. But I like having hardware. I like doing things so they're separately, because obviously if my graphics machine were to just die, like, this is what the stream would look like. I wouldn't have, I could still stream. I wouldn't necessarily be out anything. You've seen that before when I was doing Proxmox and I didn't have both my cards working correctly. I still did a stream without graphics. It's okay. You don't have to always have graphics for a stream. So, I feel like I'm doing a bad reasoning justification for this, but that should explain the basics of key fill to you, why they're better, and how, get a DeckLink or get some device that does it. And it's fairly easy. It doesn't require a whole lot of setup. OBS does it for you, and go from there. I will say that OBS is the only software I've found so far that does it for you that's easy. I know other CG systems will do it for you, but OBS is the easiest one. And you could just throw a browser source into it and get your output. So, voila. So let's go back to chat. Spectrum just raised my internet. Wow. You can't get a local fiber company to answer the phone? I'm kind of surprised by that. $130 a month. Oh boy. That is expensive. I actually don't use H2R. I mean, in theory, I could download it and install it. No, H2R does not support key and fill. They don't output to anything. They're just, I believe they're just web. They're just they just make a web page. I thought. I mean, we could try it. We could install it, I guess. Wasn't on my list of things to try, but we could try it. I mean, that's what this channel is all about, right? How fast can I make a graphic? H2R Graphics. Free download. Get the latest version. Launch it. It really thought it was, yeah. That's interesting. It really thought it was a bad piece of software. Alrighty, so we're now going to install it. Yeah, I mean, I know it's unsigned, but I would think for somebody who's selling it, you would think it would get signed. If I was releasing software, I would sign it. All right, so this is never used this before, or at least I haven't in a long time. This is interesting. A button, social. Okay. So we take that into OBS and we add a new layer, H2R. We add a browser source, H2R website. Well, that definitely took the screen over. um, so that's interesting. Oh, Neil says do a add background transparent. Okay. Is that a thing on here? Is that even an option? That's interesting. I'm gonna have to do this again. Hold on. Let me break this for a second. There we go. Thank you for that tip. So there, that was pretty easy. This is H2R Graphics working. It is now a website in OBS. Once you add the transparent, it works perfectly like it's supposed to. Um, and yeah, so that took seconds. Yeah, I mean, in theory, I guess this is supposed to be, you drag this over here and do it, but then you don't get that option for transparency. That's interesting. I don't know. And please excuse me. I don't know. I haven't used this before. Oh, it's included. Well, that's helpful. Let's try it again. So here we're gonna try this. We're gonna drag this over. You have dragged a URL. Oh yeah, look at that. Yes. So now we have, that is correct. Thanks, Nils. So yeah, so it did add the thing. So that's helpful. Um, turn this off. Go back to here. There's my key channel with the clock. There's Phil. And there's me with the overlay. So yeah, so that worked. That was really easy to get working. Um, definitely something that is nice. Um, you said go to the control room. Are open. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. You could do. Huh. That's interesting. It's kind of cool. I don't. You could do that. You got to change the theme. Make default. Oh, look at that. That was fun. That was easy. You could put all kinds of stuff on the screen. I don't know that I would necessarily do a thing like this, but I mean, it works. Take these off. Add an image. There's your socials. Interesting. Score. Variables. Oh, it pulls in Google Sheets. That's helpful. That is very helpful. Supports variables. That's cool. Huh. Oh, that's the preview. Oh, that's cool. They give you a preview. If I had OBS preview on for the thing, I could have actually output that in layers. That would be interesting. I feel like the click on fill, then go over to click on open. Same with key. Is that here? Oh, okay. I see. So it gives you a preview window. Well, that's definitely nice. I probably should have kept that open. So now if I go to key, open. Yeah, so okay, so it gives you the little preview window. That's helpful. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking his product by any means. I just never used this before, and I don't know that I have a use like this. Um, Interesting. What if I do a rundown? Oh, that's the rundown. Okay. So you can break it out into pieces or parts. Like if you only want to see. Oh wow, interesting. Well, that is helpful. Social, interesting. Add a data source. What data? Oh, live chat. Oh, that's right. You need the API key. Huh. does work with vMix. The Blackmagic one is, oh, chroma key. Yeah, I would not be a fan of this way. I really don't. I mean, I don't like how it limits you to certain colors and all that stuff. I don't like it. I like key fill. So again, I would always recommend you do key fill if possible. Oh, send data out NDI. That's cool. If you like NDI. We don't have to go down that road. We've talked about NDI before in this channel. I don't need to reiterate. Oops, what did I do? Oh, because I broke the... Yep, here we go. Yeah, the on-off button seems a little weird. Yeah, I always, yeah, key fill all the way. I always recommend it. I mean, you don't have to worry about colors, and you don't have to worry about, is it just right? Does it need adjusted? It works as long as you got your sources coming from the same place. Like, you can't do key over one source and fill over the other source. You got to have key and fill coming from the same source, so they're like in time. It's just great. Yeah, I don't. It's weird that this is the preview button. Like, to me, this is weird that it previews it with the giant button, and then the on off is smaller. Yeah, this thing doesn't feels weird to me. And yeah, on off, I feel like that should be the opposite way too. Like, on should be first, off should be bottom, and then this tally box, which is what this is, feels weird to me. I mean, again, not knocking him. It's a very nice program from what I could tell. Add a, wow, there is a lot of stuff in here. Lyrics, huh? Credits. Okay. Interesting. Don't really want to, guess, do that. Interesting. I mean, it seems pretty powerful there. So if I... Oh, okay. Yeah, now I get it. Okay, that explains that. Sorry. So, um, in so like this would be a way. um, how do I explain this to you? So a lot of times in television, you want to say go with key. So you link things together. Usually you use your fingers to link things together. So in this case, you would link the first line and let's say this, and then you would hit run so that they come in together. So that's cool that you can do that. but that was quite a bit of mouse clicks to make that happen. But anyway, that is cool. But like I said, if I was actually running a switcher, I would. I wish I could show this to you. But basically, I would hit, background, key 1, and key 2. And then when I hit take, it would take the camera source with both keys because you wouldn't have the keys layered together like that. So in this example, like if you were going to have two different keys, they would probably be the same. They could be in the same channel, but they could also be separate channels. And like a lot of times, the first line or the lower third is coming from channel 1. The live bug or the time and temp bug might be channel 2. An open might come out of 3 or 4. Full screens might come out of a 3 or 4 type of thing. So you'd have them all separated out so that you could decide what goes in and out, again, based on that flexibility of what happens if it dies or what happens if the font is wrong. You don't want to take the bug out because there's a misspelling in the font. So, but yeah, so I mean, it's cool. I mean, I definitely see the functionality here. I didn't think you actually did. I thought you weren't using key and fill. I thought you were using chroma key. Do you actually have a DeckLink card? Oh, sorry. You use key and fill from your HyperDecks. Yeah. Sorry. Now I'm reading the whole chat. Yeah, you definitely need to add a DeckLink card to your setup. Yeah, definitely makes sense to use with the companion. Is there an API? Like, is that possible? Is there? I mean, I literally don't know much about this. Um, is there a cloud sync version documentation? Is there an API? Like, can you automate this? Oh, it's in beta? Okay. Alrighty. Well, that was interesting. So let's just have some fun. So you saw what John Barker made there using his H2R. So let's just see, what we can come up with. So, can I show this? Yes. All right, so this is Windsurf. This is what I use to code AI. So let's just do it open. We're going to do a new project. All right, so yeah, I trust blah, blah, blah. All right, so Control L. So this is my Windsurf project. So I'm actually going to see if we can actually create some HTML graphics with an API, because I want to be able to control these graphics. This is also my laptop, so I'm not sure how long this is actually going to take because I've never actually tried to do this on my laptop before. So this could be a slow process. And yes, this is how long this takes to connect to the Windsurf AI thing. So before we get too far, what I like to do is actually build a prompt outside of Windsurf. I know that sounds weird, but it works better if you do it outside. So I'm going to use one AI to feed a different AI. So help me create a Windsurf prompt for a project. This project is going to produce HTML graphics for use on a web stream. There should be multiple layers with one layer being a live bug in the upper right hand corner. There should be an API using API so I can communicate to it using companion and a stream deck. So basically you put it in here, it comes in and says, I'm going to, help you. So it's going to generate this. And this is important because if Windsurf can do a lot of things, but I've found that you basically, if you feed it this, you get a whole bunch of, you get a better result. So, and look at what it's going to use Node.js, graphics should render, blah, 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 scene system, different layers, each layer would be into the controls. Yes, the live bug, it defines that. It does, it defines your API structure, what to send, dedicated over URLs. So this is cool. I'm going to just kind of go with it. I didn't read at all, obviously. But now we're going to take this into Windsurf. And then we're going to... Now, if I was a paying member, I would choose the a much, higher logic level or, model. But so I just throw that in here. And it's going to create a whole HTML-based graphics engine with API functionality that I can then deploy. Run. You have to hit run a lot. That's the one thing I've noticed with this thing. So it's going to create structures. It just created a whole bunch of folders. It's making now a JSON file that contains everything. It's thinking. This happens every time. I don't know why. Like every time it has a problem making this package file. Oh, what am I doing wrong? This thing it did this last time to me. I think I just ignore it for now. I think it's what I did last time. But I think I did this before. So you are right. It is, there's an auto allow, but I think it's still ask. At least it did their day when I was playing with this. Yeah, see, it's, even though I hit auto allow, it still says like it wants to know about permission to do certain things. So it's making all this code for you. It's, you know, it's actually fairly good response time on a laptop. I mean, given the a lot of this is happening obviously in the cloud. So it's making all these files for you. You know, it's configuring things, making more files. I mean, this is just mind blowing amount of stuff that it is doing for me, and stuff that would take, you know, I'm not a coder, so I don't know, you know, all these different things and the formats and what, you know, what works and what doesn't work. So just to sit there and say, hey, make this stuff for me, it's insane. Yeah, it definitely is. It's working. It's definitely happy for you. And I didn't pay. I haven't paid a thing. Like, this is all for free. Like, I'm not. I haven't give them a penny. Not that I can give them a penny anymore because we don't have pennies apparently. But yeah. So yeah, it's making the CSS file right here and for the web page, and it makes different stuff. And if it's like their day, this will come out with a pretty good looking system, at least to get you started with. And I actually switched. So this thumbnail is, I actually had Windsurf make this for me. So I said, develop, you know, a thumbnail about my FFmpeg stream and whatnot, and it made the thumbnail I used last week. And then I said, take that thumbnail and add my logo to it, make it about HTML5, which is why the code snippets are about drawing things. But then I wasn't sure if I'd actually get to this or not, so I decided to call it dev random. So Windsurf actually made this logo, this whole image, and it's a web page. And in the web page version of this, the cursor is actually flashing as if it would, you know, in real life. So, and then I told it to make me an image out of it. So, yeah, we got a whole bunch of things open, which, you know, and then we're gonna hit run. It's gonna install some stuff. Um, Launch the web page. So this should open up a web page that allows you to see everything. But it can't because Node, I don't think, is installed. So it'll have to install Node for me. And it's going to realize that Node is not a thing. So it will should install Node for me. Which is correct. But I actually should have stopped it right there because now it's going to convert everything, and it's not what I want it to be. I want it to be a web-based thing, so I need to stop this. Well, I guess I could take this and run. So we're going to launch it in Firefox. So not exactly what it did their day, but it made a web page. So let me see some. Let me see if I can. Hold on. I think I could take this. Yeah, let me install. Let me install Node.js real quick. Okay. Yes. Because if this works, then I can actually link OBS to it, which is ideally what I would do. All right, so I installed it. All right, so now we have this, and there's it running, and then the full overlay. And the live bug. So we could actually do this. Let me do main server full overlay. Let me go. I don't think that's going to work the way I want it to work. Hold on a second. Let me check something. 1167. All right. So in theory, this is the graphic. I don't know if it actually is or not. It should be. We go to Windsurf. Forget where you, yeah. All right, let me go back out of here for a second because something doesn't seem right. Yeah, it's crashing. Why is it crashing? Hold on. Do-do-do. So it's not running. So what I do is I copy these, I go back into Windsurf, and then I feed it back to itself. And then I let it figure it out. And this is that same problem we were having at the start of this adventure. Hi, Joe. Welcome in. Glad you can make it. And oof, that's a long day. All right, so now if I go start the server, why did that crash? Good. All right. So if I go here, so now we're back on that. And then API command to show bug, live bug. So we can try it. Oops. So we can try it with PowerShell just to see what happens. Is it not running? This is working there today when well, again, this is a different prompt. So, I mean, is the server running? So this is how, I mean, unfortunately, this is how vibe coding works. It's just you basically keep telling it over and over again, like, hey, I want this. This didn't work. Try this one. You know. Yeah. So the server is not actually running. Oh, it added a whole other thing to it. Alrighty. Oh, is it a path issue? I think that told me to reboot earlier, and I didn't really want to do that. Probably should have done that. CD documents. CD Windsurf. So that's a different error. That's interesting. So again, you throw it back, you just keep throwing it back in there, and eventually it'll get it right. So this is a lot of what this is vibe coding at its finest. So now we just try it again. Same issue. Throw it back at itself. And I wish I knew what the actual problems were, but again, like I said, I'm not a coder. Notice it's telling me right here that it's going to delete that one and it's going to add the other one. So it does tell you kind of like what it's doing. All right, so now we actually have it working. So now if I go back into, what is the PowerShell? Oh, right there. So if we go into PowerShell, oh wait, we can't do that. PowerShell command. PowerShell command to show bug. So it's airing out for some reason. So we're going to restart the server. We're going to restart the server. And we're going to try the PowerPoint again. And yes, I get the screen getting very cluttered. Huh, interesting. Still doesn't work. I made this way more complicated by doing this on a Windows machine. I'm sure that definitely is part of my issue. Ah. Yes. PowerShell. So that did something. Get health. Okay. So now we can do this, and hopefully actually it works. Nope. But you get the point. This is basically what you keep doing over and over again. And if I was really like trying to make this thing oh, what am I doing? That was just a typo? hold on. Copy. Maybe this is me being stupid. Nope. Okay. Let me go back to chat. I'm probably missing a whole bunch of things. Yeah. Show us the overlay in the browser. Well, I thought that was... This should be the overlay. Maybe I need to do it differently. Can I show you locally? That doesn't seem right. Too many windows open at once. That's definitely part of my issue. Oh geez. Okay. Well, you get the point. This is vibe coding at its best. This is just literally like, hey, it didn't work. Try this now. It didn't work. Try it again. And the other day when I had this set up at work, like, and I tried this out because I was trying to do something, I gave it a better prompt that wasn't so expansive, and it did it right the first time. So this is one of those things where it's like, unless you give it the same prompt exactly like word for word, it's going to think and it's going to behave differently than what you expected. So because I didn't actually give it the same exact prompt as I did before, because their day had a whole bunch of like include this control, include this. So it had built a whole control page, kind of like H2R Graphics. I mean, it now that I've seen H2R Graphics, it's kind of funny because it almost reminded me of H2R Graphics because it had big blocky buttons like that, and yeah. So I mean, all right. So it fixed itself. It fixed that, and then we're gonna copy this, and we're gonna do PowerShell. So it didn't complain. Now the question is it didn't work either. Oh wait, it did. There's the live bug. Why didn't I see it though? What is the URL for the live bug overlay? So if we go here, there you go. So there, we made it. I don't think this is accessible outside of this thing. I would hate to. I don't think that is going to work, but let me just try it. Yeah, so my computer is not exposing. It's not exposing this, but you can see that it worked. And then if I go, oh, it did work. Interesting. Oh, because I get it now. Yeah, so if we go back to OBS, there you can see the live bug in the corner. And there's the live bug. So there we go. We created a whole HTML5 graphics engine with API and tested it, and now we see it working. And I'm assuming that if I go back to PowerShell and I do a hide, it goes away. So I could show and I could hide. I mean, so obviously this is not something that you would take to production, but in less than a half hour, AI just made me an HTML graphics engine with an API that I can control. So now I can, in theory, go into Companion and I could add a button that would allow me to control that bug and put it on and off air. All right, so the project folders are still graphics. I need to redo my Stream Deck pages because it is too hard to go back and forth. I need to adopt some sort of Stream Deck optimization. Yeah, because I got to go back and forth way too often on here. So yes, I have a feeling he did, but I could be wrong. He could have also built it himself. I do not know. I can't say for certain. Yeah, Keith, you should vibe code some stuff. Yeah, no, I've said that before. It is dependent upon the prompt. The better prompt you can give it is you absolutely get better results. And if you use the thinking model that requires money, you get a much better result quicker. If you tell it, what language to use and where you're going to put the files, like you said, yeah, the prompt is where it's at. You need to write a good prompt and you will get a much better result. I was just doing that for expediency, just to show you how it works. But yes, write a good prompt, which is why I've learned to use like Chat GPT or whatever, Gemini, whatever one you want to use. Write your prompt there, then bring it into Windsurf, and if you can afford to get the thinking models, you will get a product that works better right off the bat. Like I said, I did this the other day, and I got a fully functional one like on round number 2. Like it was like didn't work the first time. Oh wait, there now it works. I had a whole control interface where I could turn things on and off just like H2R. Like I said, it was kind of shocking at how easy it was to make essentially H2R graphics on my own by having AI make it for me. So, what is the code? Well, it's making it's using JavaScript. I mean, the back end is all JavaScript. You can see JavaScript, like it's all JavaScript back in the back end. And so, yeah, so, you know what? Let's just, for one last thing, I'm going to make a button on Stream Deck just because I want to see if I can do this. What's my companion link? I don't even know. Companion. All right, so here's my companion install. As you can see, I was playing around this the other day. So we're gonna create a new connection. We're gonna do HTTP generic. We're gonna add this. We're gonna call it graphics for now. Graphics. We're gonna go here. What is the base URL for the API? So the base URL is going to be actually 10.1.67. Save. Now we're going to go buttons. Just going to go back to here. I'm going to add a button. Add an action, graphics. Post, done. So then if we do bug hide, oh wait, that's probably it. So this would be hide. Then we're going to copy show. And H2R. There we go. So there is that easy. So now I have Stream Deck buttons that I can show and hide the button layers. And so you could see I'm not even touching the mouse. So this is all via Stream Deck. So yeah. So there you go. This was a very random episode. But yeah. So let's, like I said, I gotta go back here, do that. Gemini has a 1 million context token limit. Yeah, I've never actually tried Codex yet. I know that's a thing. Oh yeah, it created a keyed fill because it's a web page, so it did it through the. So close that. I don't really need this anymore. I don't need that anymore. Here you can see it logging. It logs all the button presses. And then if I go here, show it, and then if you look at the key fill, that's the fill, there's the key. So fill, key, and here you could see a good example of it, how having true key fill, that thing is changing transparency, levels. So it's actually pulsing, which means that, it's kind of fading away. And if I show and hide, you can see how the key fill goes with it. and how important it is to have the key fill. And I think I just broke. Yep, I just broke something. Oops. Apparently, I'm doing stuff too fast. But here you can see how the key fill works together. Oh yeah. So, okay. So one thing I'm going to do, because I'm annoyed at this already. Where was my companion? I'm going to change this button. Buttons. I'm going to go here and copy this. And paste. And then I'm going to go. So this is companion, and oh, I don't have that other thing. So this is, now I'm going to copy this to this, and then this is API, and now I'm going to change this to be this. So now I can show you the, I can change it between the API and the graphics without me having to change pages in the Stream Deck. So, all right. So yeah, it created key and fill for us. Yes, and like I said earlier, it's kind of crazy how much, you know, for a subscription you can get done. I wouldn't put it into production. Obviously, that's a little bit, you know, you need to do a lot more work. But to get some basic functionality working for what you want to do on a live stream or what you want to do at work, if you put in the time and you think like a programmer and you think about the steps and you lay them out, and then when it gets stuck, you can try to help it out and actually help it out, you can go quite far. Yes, that's why I said personal stuff. All right, so thank you all for coming tonight. I appreciate it. Hopefully you found this interesting, and I will not be here next week, so we will skip a week for sure, but then I'll be back. So yeah. Keith, I will email you offline because I'm going to get going, but I will definitely let you know. But anyway, again, thank you all. I will talk to you later. Have a good night.